it up. So it was a great feeling. It was only it was kind of fitting um, for that season that we won the layups and we won um, the big games. In the games that was tight, that some people would have just said, "Oh, this didn't really matter." We still pulled it off. And if you remember that season, we probably played with three legitimate wide receivers for the majority of the season because Lionel got hurt San Diego game, and yeah. So we got Phil McConkey off the streets and stuff like that. So yeah, you know what? One of the things that was uh, awesome for us playing, well, at least for myself, I can say for a few of the guys that was also playing in San Francisco, not only because of the grass, but playing in that stadium and playing in RFK. RFK was pretty much the best visiting stadium that I liked playing because the fans was like right there on you. And they'll get the bleachers, the rumbling, and all that stuff. Candlestick was it wasn't exactly like that, but the fans were getting into it, and these are guys that knew football. So it's not like the Raiders when they were just cursing you out or saying bad things about your people. These guys actually they knew football. They knew they had a strong football team, and they they didn't they were good fans. They were good fans. Good fans for us to end up saying, be quiet because we're going to walk away with a victory here. But they thought they were on top. They thought no one was capable of coming back on them, and that they could constantly score some more points. And we buckled in and we won the ball game. And Bavaro just why that guy doesn't get more credit and people not nominating him for Hall of Fame, I really just don't understand. Yeah, and see, in that, um, we were ready for another barn buster. It was going to be another tight game. That was the mentality of it all. It was two big teams, and we not in the same division, but we know each other. And um, and when Jerry Rice um, fumbled the ball when he was wide open, he just dropped the ball and kicked it, and we ran and we ended up recovering it. That's when I think the confidence in all of us on our sideline, it all came because we saw they weren't ready, and that wasn't the San Francisco 49er team that we were expecting to come into Giant Stadium. So right then we was like, hey, let's take advantage of it. Let's do not step on them, step on throats now because we cannot allow these guys to get confidence and try to come back. And that's what we did. Offensively and on all three points of the game, we really put it on them. But I have to again knock myself because I should have changed the score of that. I think it was just in the cards. It was just in the man up above that we won 49-3, beating the 49ers. But I should have scored a touchdown. I got an interception. Then we should have ran it back for a freaking touchdown. And I would have scored with LT. But no, I messed around and got tackled by a freaking quarterback on the 4 yard line, and technically, he really didn't tackle me because he didn't touch me. But I have a rule that I don't dodge freaking quarterbacks. I tried to run him over, and I knew that. I mean, I seen that he was going down at my legs, so I tried to just dive over him, and I didn't score. Now that game, Washington was just well. I don't need to pull any punches now. Washington just was in for it. Like they were gonna, they in our mind they didn't stand a chance. We already beat them twice, um, and we in our own fashion. We know them all too well, and it's not too many other things that they could possibly do. We just didn't need to shoot ourselves, and it wasn't, hey, we got to this last year. Last year was last year. Parcells made that totally understood to everybody, and we just had those guys in our way, and we had them at Giant Stadium. It's kind of a difference than when those guys went to Chicago. But one of the things that the veteran guys was talking about, that they learned a lot from Chicago, their mentality and that confidence. So that confidence that we had, um, it was we were still playing the San Francisco game to us. So when they came in, it was we weren't letting them up um, one step, and their defense was pretty solid, and knew our offense, so to speak. But we put the 17 on them. That's all we need. Yes. Now it was unfortunately for me, I was diagnosed with a concussion for the first half of the ball game. So I can tell you what I know because of watching video and everything, but I can't really I can't tell you where I was standing when George Martin got the sack safety. I can't tell you where I was. I was playing in the game. Um, I was making tackles, no bumps or anything. We watched the film, but they told me because I guess because I was so excited. It's a childhood dream of going to the Super Bowl. That's why I was diagnosed. To the first half, I really don't remember anything after Star Spangled Banner. After the national anthem, Star Spangled Banner. Then it was a game where fortunately we had those guys before, so it was let's go out. Uh, the NFC didn't really give the AFC a lot of credit back then because the AFC was um, more of a passing conference than the NFC, that you ran the ball and you grind a little bit. And granted, San Francisco passed the ball too, but their style of offense, those passes to Roger Craig was his runs. That's what they classified them as. So, but we didn't go into the game with it knowing that we needed to put on our big boy pads. We went into the game just knowing that they were going to try to attack us, and attack us through there, and our linebacker core needed to really show up big, and we can't allow those guys to catch and run, and show our secondary different pass routes, and then have those guys still looking at one route and getting hit with the next one. So we passed it over, and it was a awesome game plan. It was an awesome game um, for everybody, and then we had the pleasure of guys taking off their pads, which became a league rule. You can't do that anymore. But guys were taking off their pads in the middle of the fourth quarter.
Down 41, down 20. Obviously, Phil says played perfect football game, before back to play 22 out of 25, so 16 yards, 2 touchdowns. And it's down point. Also at the game, you and William Roberts was dancing in the middle of the field. What kind of dance was that?
Yeah, it was one of those things. I kind of stole that from William. I got when I was talking about my interception against San Francisco. I gave everybody a semi taste of that in the end zone. I think Harry was getting ready to put me on in a headlock when I went back to do a little bit of the dance. And Parcells, his rule is there's no celebrating until the confetti. Um, so I was happy. It was a playoff interception. Everything was a first for me. Being a rookie. So after the game, matter of fact, when it started getting close, Big Dog he came up to me and he was like, "Man, we gotta do it. We keep going like this. We gotta do it on the 50, right in the middle of the field." I was like, "I'm with you. I'm with you." And sure enough, we won the ball game, and so that's when we went to stump and grind, 50-yard line.
Right, man. Yeah, that was great moment for the Giants. The Giants been down for so long at that time in the 80s. That's when things were flipped around with George Young. See the Giants back on top now. South around. Strike short season. Talk about that experience in Chicago. That was a big game on Monday night. Just talk about that season as a whole. Unfortunately, didn't make it to the playoffs, but let's talk about the experience in your second year yourself going through a strike.
Yeah, that was bad, and everybody like let me start off with like what you said about the Super Bowl. I wanted to repeat. I That was one of the things that I looked at as a kid. You win the Super Bowl and look at these guys, Miami Dolphins, Pittsburgh Steelers, that actually the Green Bay Packers actually repeated. I didn't see Green Bay repeat, but these guys that actually repeated wanted that opportunity, wanted to show our toughness that um, we could come back and do it. They started talking about the strike during training camp. I really didn't want to believe it. I really didn't want to believe it until George and Harry met with just the players and started talking to us about different things of what we're going to do and what they would like for us to do, and either you're in or you're out. And I was like, oh man. So it really did throw a damper, after such a awesome first year to have reality. Just to be humble. That everything is not promised to you the way that you think it is. Like I know a lot of people that have won Super Bowls their first year or first couple of years, and they just felt like this was going to be one of those things. They were going to get to this show a lot in their career, but I got a rude awakening. So I wanted to get away because I actually had a couple of friends, couple of ex college teammates that it was on the strike team. I don't want to call them scabs again, but it was on the strike teams. So I felt like before I start seeing some of these faces of guys that trying to feed their families, thinking that that they get another opportunity to play in the league, but really hurting the league and hurting us players as far as in the league. I couldn't do it, so I had to get as far away from uh, football in New Jersey as I possibly could. So I just went on a little tour and just started trying to hide.
Yeah, so 87, obviously the big playoffs. 88, you didn't make it. 89 rolls around, you get back to the playoffs. Unfortunately, you had Dave Beckett. He was a rookie in this thing. Very influential player. I think he was like Darren Sproles before Darren Sproles. Just a very explosive guy. You go to the playoffs, but you lose to the Rams. Obviously, for the Anderson game. Let's talk about that unfortunate loss to them.
Yeah, that was the '88 was the first year that I've actually seen us as a group that I was talking about policing each other. It was separate. It was a lot of separation. It was some different guys contracts and stuff that was being talked about in the locker room, and um, George and Harry made the announcements that that was going to be there last year, and it seemed like oh some of the guys just felt like, hey, dad's not home, mom and dad is not home, so we get ready to lash out when we want to lash out, and we did a lot of stuff that didn't make us that strong team in '88. Um, but it was learning. It was learning again for us. So it helped us um, to come back and be a stronger team in '89. But we still was missing um, the strong leadership because we was finding it with a few guys that was trying to replace and step in those shoes, and some players just adjusting to their roles, and so we get into a playoff game at home against the Rams and take it to overtime where it shouldn't even been that. We should have been on top. We should have won in regulation. Things happen, and Flipper goes and catches the ball, and we have one of our most embarrassing moments in Giant Stadium when he goes and runs through into our time. So that was the chip. That was the chip that we placed on all our shoulders and stopped looking back on hey, George and Harry is not here. It's time for some new people to step up and do some things, and Parcells start demanding a lot more of the people that was there, and stop looking back and stop what we used to do. Let's go and do it.
Okay, so 1990 rolls around, decade, get off to a great start, undefeated most of the season. Again, I want to talk about playing that game against San Francisco, 7-3. San Francisco, that was no Brian Lott and Bill Sims getting into after the game. Let's talk about that game. That was a big game on Monday night. Very, anticipated. Going through that rivalry between yourself and that 49 team. Let's talk about that game as a whole.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, especially now, would say, well, these days, would say that must have been a boring game. But when you look at it, when you get two well coached um, with personnel out in the ball game, you would think that it would be low scoring and not 80 point total, scoring